Since the departure of the legendary Sir Alex Ferguson from the Old Trafford, the Red Giants Manchester United have got 9 managers in their bag. Talking about the likes of the caretaker, the interim, the full-time managers from David Moyes, Ryan Giggs, Luis Van Gaal, Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Michael Carrick, Ralph Rangnick, Eric Ten Hag. But what the Glazer family after handing over the majority stakes to Jim Ratcliffe and his Ineos, there was a tweet from Elon Musk that he was going to buy Manchester United, but that was a joke. But what Manchester United playing these days at the number 13th of the Premier League is looking a bit like that. The flash flooding in Valencia has killed more than 70 people, and yes, many of the fixtures in the La Liga where Valencia was going to face Real Madrid has been postponed. But yes, Valencia were also officially on a match against the 6th tier team Parca Escuelesa in the Copa del Rey on Wednesday night. This match has also been postponed to the 6th of this month. So yes, Real Madrid facing Valencia has been postponed. A good time for Ancelotti and his men. Pep Guardiola from Manchester City having those quadruple dreams this season is over, and having so many injuries being their loss against Tottenham in the EFL, the Carabao Cup, as well as they have got a defeat, the first of the season in this Premier League also. What is in store for Manchester City as well as Guardiola is a washout to look at the end of this season. Napoli in this season is in charge with Antonio Conte, the new manager, but what you guess is wrong, because Romelu Lukaku is the highest goal scorer for Antonio Conte and Napoli this season. But yes, in the clash of this weekend where Napoli faced the Slyfox Gasperini's Atlanta, got a setback of 3 goals, and this was their first defeat in this season. But let me tell you one thing, Napoli hasn't yet faced the big dogs of the Serie A under Conte so far. The Catalans Barcelona are doing so good in the La Liga this season with their new German douche manager, the previous World Cup winner as well as the Champions League winner, the likes of Hansi Flick. But what, they have got a 500 million transfer clause for the attacking midfielder Fermin Lopez. Are they so afraid of the winter transfers coming so early? Sporting CP has got that ugly moment of this season where their manager Ruben Amorim is set to join the Old Trafford, the Red Giants Manchester United in the first half of the season. But what, Victor Gyökeres has scored 17 goals this season, and he is the highest scorer of all the European leagues combined. Victor Gyökeres will have his chances at Old Trafford also after the arrival of Ruben Amorim. That is also a good watch to see over here. Lionel Messi at the age of 37 years with his likes in the MLS, he is not worried about the 2026 World Cup. But yes, talking about his managerial aspects which he is going to boot up after his senior career, he has acknowledged that Zinedine Zidane was also not interested in taking up the Real Madrid managerial job, so he won those 3 Champions League consecutive titles. But what is Messi aiming at after his senior career? Guys, welcome back to another episode with FC Ramsay. And Manchester United under Ruud van Nistelrooy has got those 1 win and 1 draw despite the team lacking in so many aspects. But yes, we will move on to that a bit later, talking about the La Liga of this weekend where Valencia were going to face Real Madrid, but there were some flash floods, many people have been killed, and some matches of Valencia has been postponed. So yes, Real Madrid facing Valencia is on the postponement. But talking about Atletico Madrid, they had got a 2 win over Las Palmas, as well as Barcelona under Hansi Flick doing those miracles, getting the on verge relegation team Espanyol with a 3-1 victory over them, as well as Sevilla got those defeat under Real Sociedad. But the most talk of the town, the big dogs league across the Europe, is that of the Serie A where Napoli were on to face Atlanta at their home ground of Stadio Diego Armando Maradona Stadium, where Napoli was. Antonio Conte hadn't yet got a defeat in the Serie A, but against Gasperini's men, it was Lookman who just denied of getting any chances from Napoli to get those conversions, because he was the man who destroyed Napoli's Antonio Conte's team on the 10th minute as well as in the 31st minute. But yes, talking of the substitutions where Retegui was brought into the game, he also scored late in the stoppage time, and it was a 3-0 win over Atlanta. And talking about the Serie A table, Napoli are at the top of the table with 25 points because they has got their first defeat. But yes, Antonio Conte is yet to face the big dogs of the Serie A because they haven't faced the likes of those big guns in the Serie A. And yes, Inter with Simone Inzaghi are on the second position. Atlanta and Fiorentina are doing good, and Juventus under Thiago Motta are on the third, fourth, and fifth positions respectively. But yes, talking about AC Milan, Paulo Fonseca has to make some worries because he has got those 5 wins out of the 10 matches, and the competition in the Serie A table is going good. So that was all about it. But yes, adding more to it, there was Juventus who got their win against Udinese, and they are also doing good under Thiago Motta. Moving on to our next aspect, that is the Bundesliga. That was the round 9, and Leverkusen were facing Stuttgart at their home ground of Bay Arena. The likes of Florian Wirtz was there, where Xabi Alonso had those tactical gameplays, the formations which were there of 3-4-2-1, whereas Stuttgart doing so good. They are in the Champions League as well. But yes, Sebastian Hoeneß from the Bayern Academy, who was the manager of their undergraduate academy club, is on to the likes of VfB Stuttgart, where have a draw, and both the teams had to just settle with sharing their points. Whereas talking about the Nuri Sahin's Borussia Dortmund, the men in yellow and black had won against the top contender of the Bundesliga this season, that is RB Leipzig. But yes, there were some injury concerns for both the teams, but then also it was Bayer and Guirassy who provided those 2 goals, whereas the sole goal from Sesko just couldn't get them to get at least sharing some points. And yes, Nuri Sahin against Marco Rose, it was a clean win of Dortmund against Leipzig. And talking about the third match of the Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich faced Union Berlin, where Bayern has destroyed with 3 goals. But yes, some of the build-ups of the Bayern in the midfields with Palina and Kimmich are not looking good. And what are the substitutions which Vincent Kompany has got if Harry Kane gets some kind of injury? Because there are the likes that Matthew Stell is going on a loan this January transfer. So yes, much of concerns for Bayern. And moving on to the Premier League showdown of this week, where there were so many ups and downs, much of the top teams of the table getting those defeats. It was Newcastle who faced Arsenal at their St. James Park, and that was such a good classic header from Alexander Isak, who got his first goal in the 12th minute, and that was the sole lead in the whole game, where Arteta's men just couldn't get any sort of comeback in this field, and the likes of Mikel Merino, Declan Rice, Havertz, Trossard in the attacking aspects were not looking good. But yes, Saka, who had a good performance in the previous game, as well as Martinelli, they were not looking that lethal. But yes, the defense of Arsenal has much worries because they have got many players injured this season. And talking about them, their sporting director Edu is also moving from this club so early in the first half of this season, whereas that was the likes of Bournemouth facing Manchester City in their Vitality Stadium. Manchester City is facing those back-to-back losses. The first one being against Tottenham in the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup. City's man Haaland and his teammates were seen laughing from the bench. But yes, this loss against Bournemouth, where Haaland couldn't get any score for the past 2 games. And yes, it was the sole goal from Guardiola which Manchester City has got. And it was Semeno and Ivan Nielsen from Bournemouth who got those 2 contributions. And there were no much chances because a total of 18 shots were there from Manchester City. But talking about them, only 3 big chances where Bournemouth could have just destroyed Manchester City more, because they have got those 6 big chances against City. And yes, Manchester City has got the likes of the injuries in their bag as well. And talking about them, the likes of Oscar Bob, Ruben Diaz, John Diaz, Rodri and Jack Grealish are not fit. But yes, what are the likes of Sevino, Kevin De Bruyne? They are back in the squad. And yes, City will definitely get some comeback, because still at the top of the table is the likes of Liverpool, where they had faced Brighton at their home ground of Anfield, and it was a comeback from City's Mohamed Salah and Gakpo in just 3 minutes. And moving into the second half, where Liverpool were down, and Arne Slot, what a character build-up of this Liverpool team he has been showing. And talking about the most astonishing fact of it was that Liverpool has come back from being 1 goal down, and it was in the 69th and 72 minutes that Gakpo and Mohamed Salah scored. But yes, Liverpool were also having some kind of injury backs, where the likes of Diogo Jota, Federico Chiesa, the new signing of this season, as well as their elite goalkeeper Alisson Becker and Harvey Elliott were injured. But yes, Talking about the aspects of Brighton, there were injuries of some of their premier players like Pedro and that of Milner, as well as Solimar were there. But then also it was a comeback moment for Liverpool, and they have clinched to the top of the Premier League table. And as Nottingham Forest disappointing West Ham, that also was a good moment because Lopetegui against Rui Pedro Silva didn't have those moments, and it was a clean game where West Ham had got a red card also on the verge of the completion of the first half, where Alvarez got that booking. And yes, it were the 3 goals Wood, Hudson-Odoi and Aina scoring for Nottingham Forest, and they did those damages for Lopetegui in this game. But yes, again it was a comeback moment where Tottenham got those 4 goals against Aston Villa, where Rodgers, the new player in the squad, scored in the 32nd minute. But yes, those were the comeback moments in the second half, and it is much to talk about Postecoglou against Unai Emery, because the likes of Johnson, Solanke scoring twice, as well as Madison in the stoppage time of the second half. Those were the conceding the opening goal, despite Tottenham looked in the Premier League in the 12th time in 2024 that they have came from behind in the super fashion. But yes, Manchester United is yet to face Tottenham this season. They had this weekend the likes of the Blues of the Premier League, Chelsea, where the Red Giants under Ruud van Nistelrooy getting their first victory in the Carabao Cup against Leicester City. That was a huge moment, and since 2021 Manchester United has seen such type of goals upon the coming of Ruud van Nistelrooy, the legend from the Old Trafford, who did it. But yes, the gameplay of Manchester United against Chelsea were not looking that good. But talking about all the aspects where the Red Giants were having those lineups of Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Haaland, as well as Garnacho in the squad, but in the midfields, the likes of Ugarte and Casemiro are not doing good. And I am saying it once again that there are some sort of players who need to come from their academy, which has to be in their midfields as well as in the striking positions, because Rashford and Garnacho were not looking matured players. They were just playing like babies on the field, where in the penalty box, they had so many chances, but they couldn't just get a shot which was having that power or which was having some accuracy to it to get past in the nets. But yes, talking about Onana, he had a decent performance, but he conceded once, but then also his performance was not good. Talking about the Chelsea, where Jackson, Palmer, Madueke and Neto were there on the striking aspects, the likes of Caicedo and Lavia on the midfields were not looking good in their aspect, because yes, Caicedo did a good job as well as Lavia was on his big scoring opportunity which he did, but that was a quite luck game. A red card being denied from Manchester United, as well as some kind of penalty aspects where the likes of the fans were raising their voice. So some kind of disputed decisions by the referee Robert Jones, who couldn't just give the fans, where a massive 73,813 fans had gathered to watch this game at the Old Trafford. The tickets are soaring high. Jim Ratcliffe is making those FFP statements, the financial sustainabilities as well as the profit statements. But Ruben Amorim going to join Manchester United, is that the talk of the town? See, if a manager is going to join a team, that is definitely a boost for it. But what can a manager do when you don't have those academies, when you don't have those transfers? And especially to talk about it, Cristiano Ronaldo has already spoken that Manchester United need to just build up from the ground. And yes, Ruben Amorim talking about his stint at the Sporting CP. See, Victor Gyökeres was the man which he has built up, and he has clinched those trophies in the Liga Portugal. But talking about in the Premier League, he has to face Guardiola. There are the likes of Lopetegui as well as Arne Slot new in the build-up, and that too of many other managers where he has to get those winning moments. So definitely Ruben Amorim on his stint at Manchester United, he has to prove, because Ruud van Nistelrooy has just stated that his team is not having those talents in the bag, especially in the midfield. But in the new formation where Ruud van Nistelrooy has stuck to the likes of Mesuri, Dalot, De Ligt and Martinez on the centre backs is doing good. And yes, Manchester United is looking fresh of energy and much of expectations are there. But what can a team do when they have already dropped down to the 13th position in the Premier League? So yes, Ruben Amorim, he has to build up this team for at least this season, and it will be too late to get some kind of silverware for him. But the likes of the EFL or the Carabao Cup, he may take a dig to it to get some chances. And the table where the Liverpool are just at the top with 25 points. and 8 wins out of their 10 games, whereas Manchester City has got the second position now, dropping down after the game week 10, and it is Nottingham Forest, who was on the verge of relegation in the previous season, are at the third position, whereas Chelsea, Arsenal have dropped down to the fourth and fifth, Aston Villa on the sixth, and Tottenham has clinched to the seventh position. So yes, Tottenham is making those moves late in the season, and it has been already said that they are the most setback giving team in the Premier League where they can destroy, and it was in the previous season also where Tottenham got that defeat against Manchester City, which led City to crawl to the top of the table. Otherwise it was all for Liverpool in the previous season to get that trophy of the Premier League. So that was all about this weekend. It was a total roundup and total wrap up of the games which happened in the top 5 elite European leagues. What are your say about it? And do you think that Manchester United has got Ruben Amorim? Is he worth, or Manchester United has to do some sort of different stature, as well as taking about the concerns of Ruud van Nistelrooy as well as Ruben Amorim, taking the different departments together and taking the Old Trafford to the Sir Alex Ferguson's arena, where the Old Trafford as well as the Red Giants were roaring high in the Premier League. So much of the expectations are there. Before ending this video, do give us a hit of like, share and subscribe and press the notification bells. Keep cooling guys. Bye bye.